In the vastness of space where countless stars illuminated the dark void, like scattered diamonds on black velvet, the Crithian Empire had reigned supreme for over 2 centuries. Their conquest spanned 60 star systems, leaving a trail of subjugated civilizations in their wake. No force had ever successfully challenged their military might or technological superiority. Until now. The year was 3247, and humanity had expanded beyond Earth's solar system, forming the Earth Alliance that encompassed several neighboring star systems. At the edge of the Milky Way and the Choron star system, a single human cruiser was about to change the course of galactic history. Colonel Helena Voss stood on the command bridge of the Aurora, her piercing blue eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. Her short silver hair framed a face marked with the subtle lines of experience rather than age. At 43, she had risen through the ranks of the Earth Alliance Space Force with remarkable speed, earning a reputation for tactical brilliance and unwavering integrity. Long-range sensors detecting unusual energy signatures, Colonel reported Lieutenant Misha Kavinsky, her sensor officer. Pattern matches nothing in our database. Helena's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced with possibilities. The Aurora had been dispatched to the Choron system on a routine reconnaissance mission. The system was uninhabited, but strategically positioned at the border of Alliance space. Full sensor sweep. I want detailed readings. She ordered, her voice calm, but authoritative. Communications maintain radio silence. Tactical power weapon systems, but keep them offline. The bridge crew responded with practiced efficiency. Years of serving under Helena had taught them to trust her instincts. Colonel, Lieutenant Kavinsky's voice wavered slightly. I'm detecting multiple vessels. Configuration unknown, but their energy output is massive. They're moving through the system in a search pattern. Helena moved to the sensor station, studying the readings herself. These aren't pirates or independent traders. This is a coordinated military force. As the Aurora maintained its position behind Choron IV's largest moon, Helena watched the alien vessels methodically scan each planet in the system. Their movements were precise, their formation disciplined. Record everything, she instructed, and prepare a data package for immediate transmission to Alliance Command once we're clear of the system. Hours passed as they observed the alien fleet. The Aurora's advanced stealth systems kept them hidden, but Helena knew they couldn't remain undetected indefinitely. Colonel Lieutenant Raj Patel, her tactical officer, called out urgently. One of the alien vessels has altered course. It's heading toward our position. Helena straightened. Time to intercept. 7 minutes at current speed. Prepare for emergency jump. Plot a course back to Alliance space. But before the navigation officer could respond, Lieutenant Kavinsky interrupted. Colonel, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the approaching vessel. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. The readings suggest it could be a weapon system charging. Helena's decision was immediate. Bring weapons online, shields at maximum. The approaching alien ship suddenly accelerated, closing the distance at an alarming rate. They've detected us, Helena realized. Lieutenant Patel, target their propulsion systems. Minimal force. Weapons locked, Colonel. Fire. The Aurora's energy beams lanced out, striking the alien vessel with surgical precision. The effect was unexpected. Instead of merely damaging the propulsion systems, the beams triggered a cascading reaction through the alien ship's power grid. Its lights flickered, and it began to drift. Direct hit. Their systems are destabilizing, reported Lieutenant Patel. Before Helena could issue further orders, the sensor station erupted with alerts. Colonel, the other alien vessels are converging on our position. Helena knew they couldn't engage the entire fleet. Jump drive status. Ready, Colonel. Execute jump now. The stars blurred around them as the Aurora tore through subspace, escaping the Choron system, just as the alien fleet reached their previous position. Once safely in hyperspace, Helena reviewed the sensor data they had gathered. What she saw sent a chill down her spine. The alien technology was unlike anything the Alliance had encountered before. Most concerning was an energy pattern the science team tentatively called decawave light, a form of energy manipulation that seemed to defy known physics. "Send everything to Alliance Command," she ordered, "and prepare a full briefing for the Strategic Council." Little did Helena know that this encounter would mark the beginning of humanity's greatest challenge, and its finest hour. 2 weeks later, Helena stood before the Earth Alliance Strategic Council in the orbital headquarters above Earth. The chamber was austere, designed for functionality, rather than aesthetics, much like the military Helena had served for over 2 decades. "Colonel Voss," began Admiral Terence Zhao, the head of the council. "Your report on the encounter in the Coran system has raised significant concerns. Our intelligence division has identified these aliens as the Crithian Empire." A holographic display activated in the center of the chamber, showing the extent of Crithian conquest across a substantial portion of the galaxy. "For 200 years they have systematically conquered 60 star systems," Admiral Zhao continued. "No civilization has successfully resisted them. Your encounter is the first documented case of a successful engagement against their forces." Helena absorbed this information, her face betraying no emotion despite the gravity of the situation. "The Council has authorized Project Defender," Admiral Zhao announced. "A new class of warship incorporating the tactical data you've gathered. Colonel Voss, given your experience with the Crithians, you will oversee the final stages of development." "With respect, Admiral," Helena responded, "the Aurora's success was largely due to the element of surprise. We caught a single scout ship unprepared. A full Crithian fleet would be a different matter entirely." Admiral Zhao nodded. "We are aware of the odds, Colonel, but your data has revealed something crucial, a potential vulnerability in their battle network. The way their ship systems cascaded after your precision strike suggests their vessels are linked in a complex network. Dr. Lakshmi Patel from the Advanced Weapons Division believes we can exploit this." The mention of Dr. Patel caught Helena's attention. "Raj's mother?" "Indeed," the Admiral confirmed. "Like her son, she has a brilliant mind. She's leading the team developing what they call the decawave light disruptor, based on the energy patterns you recorded." Helena studied the schematics that appeared on the display. "How long until the Defender is operational?" 6 months, Admiral Zhao replied. "But intelligence suggests we don't have that much time. The Crithians will not ignore the encounter in the Coran system. We expect a preliminary force to investigate within weeks." The implications were clear. The Aurora would need to engage the Crithians again, this time deliberately, to buy time for the Defender's completion. "Your orders, Colonel Voss, are to conduct hit-and-run operations against any Crithian forces that enter Alliance space. Gather more intelligence but avoid prolonged engagements. The Aurora has been refitted with enhanced stealth and sensor systems for this purpose." Helena accepted her orders with a crisp salute, though internally she grappled with the enormity of the task ahead. The lives of her crew would be at risk, but the alternative, allowing the Crithians to advance unchallenged, was unthinkable. As she left the council chamber, Helena was joined by Lieutenant Raj Patel. "Permission to speak freely, Colonel," he requested. Helena nodded, recognizing the concern in her tactical officer's expression. "My mother's work on the decawave technology is promising, but untested in combat conditions," Raj explained. "The Crithians have been conquering worlds for centuries. Their tactics and technology will be refined through countless battles." "Your point, Lieutenant. We need a new approach, something they haven't encountered before," Raj suggested. "The Crithians likely rely on their technological superiority and overwhelming force. Their formations in the Coran system were rigid, almost predictable." Helena considered this observation. "You're thinking guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run engagements?" "Yes, Colonel. If we can't match their firepower, we need to outmaneuver them, strike critical targets and withdraw before they can bring their full force to bear." "Draft a tactical proposal," Helena ordered. "I want it on my desk before we depart." As Raj left to begin his work, Helena turned her attention to the stars, visible through the station's viewport. Somewhere out there, the Crithians were preparing their response to the Aurora's interference. The coming conflict would test not only her skills as a commander, but the very survival instinct of humanity. 3 weeks later, Helena's prediction proved accurate. A Crithian scout fleet entered the edge of Alliance space, methodically scanning each system in their path. The Aurora, with its enhanced stealth systems, shadowed the alien fleet, gathering intelligence on their movements and communication patterns. Their command structure is rigid, Helena observed, studying the data. Orders flow from the lead vessel to the rest of the fleet. Little individual initiative. Lieutenant Kavinsky nodded in agreement. Their communication protocols are sophisticated but predictable. I've identified recurring patterns in their transmission bursts. This information could be valuable. If the Crithians relied on centralized command, disrupting their communications might create confusion in their ranks. Lieutenant Patel analyzed their formation patterns. I want to know their standard response to different threat scenarios. For days, the Aurora tracked the Crithian fleet, recording every detail of their operations. They observed as the aliens conducted orbital scans of uninhabited planets, occasionally landing survey teams on the surface. Then the situation changed dramatically. Colonel, Lieutenant Kavinsky's voice was urgent. The Crithian fleet has altered course. They're heading toward the Proxima colony. Helena's blood ran cold. Proxima was one of the Alliance's oldest off-Earth colonies, home to over 3 million civilians. Time to intercept. At their current speed, they'll reach Proxima in 36 hours. Helena faced a critical decision. Her orders were clear: gather intelligence and avoid engagement. But Proxima had minimal defenses, certainly nothing that could repel a Crithian fleet. Contact Alliance Command, she ordered. Inform them of the Crithian course change and request instructions regarding Proxima's defense. The response came 12 hours later, as the Aurora continued to shadow the alien fleet. Colonel. Her communications officer reported, message from Alliance Command. They acknowledged the threat to Proxima, but emphasized the importance of preserving the Aurora. We are ordered to continue observation only. Proxima has been advised to prepare for emergency evacuation. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. Evacuation of 3 million colonists would be impossible in the time available. Many would be left behind to face the Crithians. Helena paced the bridge, her mind wrestling with conflicting duties. Follow orders and potentially condemn millions to death or subjugation, or risk her ship and crew in a desperate attempt to divert the Crithian fleet. Lieutenant Patel, she finally said, based on your analysis of Crithian tactics, what would be their response if a valuable target presented itself elsewhere? Raj understood immediately what his colonel was considering. Their doctrine appears to prioritize high-value military targets over civilian populations. If they detected a significant Alliance military asset, they might divert to engage it first. And if that asset appeared vulnerable, damaged perhaps, they would almost certainly alter their course to capture or destroy it. Helena nodded. Navigation, plot a course to intercept the Crithian fleet. Engineering, prepare to simulate critical system failures on my command. We're going to give the Crithians something more interesting to chase than a colony of civilians. The plan was dangerous, bordering on reckless. The Aurora would reveal itself to the Crithian fleet, appearing damaged and vulnerable, then lead them away from Proxima through a series of pre-calculated hyperspace jumps. Each jump would take them further from the colony and closer to the reinforced defenses of the Alliance core systems. As the Aurora moved into position, Helena addressed her crew. What I'm about to order goes against our explicit instructions from Alliance Command, she acknowledged. Anyone who objects may log their dissent officially. There will be no repercussions. Not a single member of her crew spoke up. Very well, Helena continued. Battle stations, prepare for Operation Decoy. The Aurora dropped out of hyperspace directly in the path of the Crithian fleet, its external lights flickering and venting harmless but visible plasma to simulate damage. Crithian fleet has altered course, reported Lieutenant Kavinsky. They're pursuing. Lead vessel is hailing us. Ignore their hails, Helena ordered. Let them think our communications are damaged. Navigation execute jump 1 on my mark. The Crithian vessels accelerated their formation, spreading to envelop the seemingly crippled human ship. Mark. The Aurora vanished into hyperspace just as the Crithian weapons began to lock on. They emerged in a neighboring system, deliberately dropping out of hyperspace near a metallic-rich asteroid field that would partially obscure their signature. Crithian fleet has followed us, confirmed Lieutenant Kavinsky. They're emerging from hyperspace now. For the next 18 hours, the Aurora led the Crithian fleet through a series of jumps, each carefully calculated to maintain the illusion of a damaged ship attempting to escape. The aliens pursued relentlessly, dedicating their entire scout fleet to capturing the elusive human vessel. By the time the Crithians realized they had been deliberately led away from Proxima, the colony had received reinforcements from deeper within Alliance space. The civilian evacuation was underway with priority given to children and essential personnel. Helena had successfully diverted the immediate threat, but at what cost? The Aurora had revealed itself and some of its capabilities to the enemy. Worse, she had directly disobeyed orders from Alliance Command. Set course for Earth, she ordered, once they had finally lost their pursuers. I have a court-martial to attend. The reception at Earth Orbital Headquarters was not what Helena expected. Instead of military police, Admiral Zhao himself met her at the docking bay. Colonel Voss, he greeted her, his expression unreadable. Walk with me. They proceeded through the station's corridors in silence until they reached a secure briefing room. Inside, a holographic display showed the current status of Proxima's evacuation. 80% complete, Admiral Zhao noted. Over 2 million civilians safely relocated to inner colonies, thanks to the time you bought them. Helena stood at attention. Admiral, I disobeyed direct orders. Yes, you did, Zhao agreed. And in doing so, you saved millions of lives and provided us with invaluable intelligence on Crithian pursuit tactics. He deactivated the hologram and turned to face her directly. The Council is divided on how to respond to your insubordination. Some call for court-martial, others for commendation. A rare smile crossed his features. For now, they've settled on a compromise. Promotion to Brigadier General effective immediately with command of the first Defender-class vessel. Helena was momentarily speechless. Sir, the Defender is ahead of schedule, General Voss. Dr. Patel's team has made remarkable progress with the Deca Wave Light technology. The ship will be ready for trials in 3 weeks. Admiral Zhao's expression turned grave. We need it operational as soon as possible. Intelligence reports indicate the Crithians are mobilizing a much larger force. The encounter with the Aurora has drawn their full attention to the Alliance. Helena absorbed this information, understanding the implications. The initial engagement had been just the beginning. The real test would come when the Crithians deployed their main battle fleet. Dr. Patel has requested to brief you personally on the Defender's capabilities, Admiral Zhao continued. She believes you'll need to adapt your tactics to fully utilize the new technology. Helena nodded. When do I meet my new command? Tomorrow. The crew is being assembled now. A combination of Aurora veterans and specialists selected for their expertise with the new systems. As Helena prepared to leave, Admiral Zhao added one final comment. The Council may be divided on your methods, General Voss, but they are unanimous on one point. You've given us our first real hope against the Crithians. Don't make me regret supporting your promotion. The prototype Defender was unlike any ship Helena had commanded before. While similar in size to the Aurora, its internal configuration and technology were revolutionary. The heart of the ship was the Deca Wave Light Disruption Array, Dr. Lakshmi Patel's creation based on the energy patterns observed during the initial Crithian encounter. The Crithians use a form of quantum-entangled communication for their battle network, Dr. Patel explained during Helena's first tour of the ship. Each vessel is linked to all others, sharing tactical data and coordinating their actions in real time. It's what makes their formation so precise and their responses so coordinated. Helena followed the scientist through the ship's central corridor, noting the unusual configuration of power conduits running along the ceiling. "And the disruption array can break this link?" she asked. "Better than that," Dr. Patel replied with evident pride. "It can introduce false data into their network. For brief periods, we can make their sensors detect phantom targets or miss real ones." The implications were significant. Such technology could effectively blind the Crithian fleet or cause them to fire on empty space while the Defender and its escort ships attacked from another vector. "How long can this disruption be maintained?" Helena inquired, already considering tactical applications. "Currently, about 90 seconds before their systems adapt," Dr. Patel admitted. "After that, we need to recalibrate the array with new parameters, which takes approximately 5 minutes. 90 seconds could be enough," Helena mused, "especially if we coordinate with conventional electronic warfare systems." They arrived at the bridge where several of Helena's former Aurora crew were already familiarizing themselves with their new stations. Lieutenant Raj Patel stood at the tactical console running simulations. "General," he acknowledged with a salute. "We're testing the integrated targeting systems now. The results are promising." Helena nodded to him, then turned back to Dr. Patel. "What about the escort vessels? Will they be equipped with similar technology?" "Scaled-down versions," the scientist confirmed. "The destroyers Valiant and Dauntless will carry auxiliary disruption arrays. When synchronized with the Defender, they can extend the effective range or target multiple Crithian formations simultaneously." Over the next 2 weeks, Helena worked closely with her crew and Dr. Patel's team to develop tactics that would maximize the effectiveness of the new technology. Traditional naval warfare concepts were adapted to three-dimensional space, with an emphasis on hit-and-run engagements and coordinated electronic attacks. Time was running short. Intelligence reports indicated a significant Crithian force was assembling on the edge of Alliance space. Their target was clear: find and destroy the ship that had dared to challenge their dominance. The Defender completed its shakedown cruise with minimal issues. Its advanced propulsion system provided greater speed and maneuverability than any previous Alliance vessel, while its enhanced stealth systems made it difficult to detect when running silent. As Helena reviewed the final readiness reports in her quarters, Lieutenant Raj Patel requested permission to enter. "General, we've received new intelligence," he reported. "The Crithian battle fleet has entered Alliance space. They're proceeding toward the Archon system." Helena frowned. Archon was sparsely populated with only research outposts and mining operations. Not a priority target. "They're looking for us," she realized, "using a secondary target to draw us out." Raj nodded. "That would be consistent with their tactics so far. They prioritize eliminating military threats before proceeding with their conquest." Helena considered their options. The Defender was ready, but barely. The crew was still adjusting to the new systems, and the Decawave technology remained largely untested in actual combat. "Contact the Valiant and Dauntless," she decided. "We'll rendezvous in the Proxima system and proceed to Archon together. If the Crithians want to find us, we'll oblige them, but on our terms." The journey to Archon took 3 days at maximum sustainable speed. During that time, Helena drilled her crew, relentlessly focusing on coordinated maneuvers with their escort vessels. The Valiant and Dauntless, commanded by Captain Silas Reed, adapted quickly to the new tactical doctrine. "Approaching Archon system," announced the navigation officer as they prepared to drop out of hyperspace. Long-range sensors detecting multiple large vessels in orbit around Archon 4. Helena studied the tactical display. Composition: 1 command vessel approximately 3 times the mass of the Defender. 6 support ships of various configurations. Energy signatures consistent with the Crithian vessels we encountered previously. It was a formidable force, but smaller than expected for a main battle fleet. This suggested the Crithians were still testing Alliance capabilities, deploying a significant, but not overwhelming force. "Perfect," Helena murmured. "Communications signal the Valiant and Dauntless. We'll implement Tactic Epsilon 3. Emergence points as planned. The three Alliance vessels dropped out of hyperspace at precisely calculated points, forming a loose triangle around the Crithian fleet. Before the aliens could react, the Defender activated its Decawave disruption array, targeting the command ship's sensor systems. Disruption successful, reported Lieutenant Patel. Their sensors are showing phantom targets throughout the system, counting down 90 seconds to adaptation. All vessels execute attack pattern, Helena ordered. Focus fire on the nearest support ship. The Alliance ships accelerated, converging on their target with precision. Their combined firepower overwhelmed the Crithian vessel's shields, causing cascading system failures throughout its hull. One down, Helena noted, as the enemy ship drifted powerless. Regroup and select next target. Before they could engage again, the Crithian command ship recovered from the disruption effect. Its response was immediate and devastating. Energy beams lanced out, narrowly missing the Dauntless, as it executed an evasive maneuver. They're adapting quickly, Helena observed. Lieutenant Patel, how long until we can deploy the disruption array again? 3 minutes, General. They've already implemented countermeasures against our initial parameters. Helena had anticipated this. Navigation full retreat. Lead them into the asteroid field at coordinates Taurus 9. The three Alliance vessels broke formation, each taking a different vector, but all heading toward the dense asteroid field that orbited Archon 4. The Crithian ships pursued their superior speed, allowing them to close the distance rapidly. Entering the asteroid field now, reported the navigation officer. Deflectors at maximum. The massive rocks provided cover from the Crithian weapons, but also presented a navigational challenge. The Defender, with its enhanced maneuverability, wove through the field with remarkable agility. The escort ships followed, though, at a more cautious pace. The Crithians are holding at the edge of the field, Lieutenant Kavinsky reported. They're repositioning to cut off our potential exit vectors. Helena had expected this too. The Crithians would be reluctant to pursue into the asteroid field, where their rigid formations would be a liability. Dr. Patel's status of the disruption array. Recalibrated and ready, General. New parameters should be effective for approximately 75 seconds before they adapt again. Target their command ship's propulsion systems, Helena ordered. Lieutenant Patel, coordinate with Valiant and Dauntless. I want synchronized fire on my mark. The Defender emerged from behind a massive asteroid, its disruption array activated. The Crithian command ship's sensors showed the human vessel in multiple locations, simultaneously confusing its targeting systems. Fire. The three Alliance ships unleashed a coordinated barrage, their energy beams converging on the Crithian command ship's engine section. The alien vessel's shields flared brilliantly before collapsing under the concentrated assault. Direct hit, Lieutenant Patel confirmed. Their propulsion systems are failing. They're drifting toward the planet's gravity well. The remaining Crithian vessels moved to protect their crippled command ship, forming a defensive perimeter. They're regrouping, Helena noted. And we've lost the element of surprise. Navigation plot a course to the gas giant. We'll use its atmosphere for cover, while the disruption array recalibrates again. The three Alliance ships accelerated away from the asteroid field, heading toward the massive gas giant that dominated the Archon system. The Crithian pursuit was immediate, but hampered by the need to protect their damaged command ship. As they approached the swirling clouds of the gas giant, Helena implemented the next phase of her plan. Valiant and Dauntless execute divergence pattern. Circle back and harass their flanks. Defender will descend into the upper atmosphere and re-emerge behind their formation. It was a dangerous maneuver. The gas giant's intense atmospheric pressure and electromagnetic disturbances could damage their systems or disorient their sensors. But it would also affect the Crithians perhaps even more severely, given their reliance on networked communications. The Defender plunged into the colorful clouds, its hull vibrating as it encountered increasing resistance. Systems flickered momentarily before the ship's adaptive shields compensated for the environmental conditions. Maintain course, Helena ordered, as warning indicators flashed across several stations. How are our escorts performing? Valiant and Dauntless are engaging the Krithian support vessels, Lieutenant Kavinsky reported. They've destroyed one and damaged another. The remaining ships are dividing their attention between our escorts and protecting their command vessel. Perfect. The Krithians were being drawn into exactly the type of fragmented engagement that would negate their numerical advantage. Prepare to ascend on my mark, Helena instructed. Lieutenant Patel status of the disruption array. Fully recalibrated, General, ready for deployment. Target their command and control systems this time. We need to sever the link between their command ship and the support vessels. The Defender rose from the gas giant's atmosphere, its sensors immediately locking onto the Krithian command ship. The alien vessel was still struggling with damaged propulsion systems, slowly being drawn into the gas giant's gravitational field. Disruption array activated, Lieutenant Patel confirmed. Their communication network is experiencing cascading failures. Helena watched as the Krithian formation began to break down. Without coordinated instructions from their command ship, the support vessels responded inconsistently to the threat posed by the Alliance escorts. All vessels converge on the command ship, Helena ordered. Maximum firepower. The three Alliance ships executed a perfect pincer movement, catching the Krithian command ship between them. Their combined weapons fire overwhelmed the alien vessel's remaining defenses, penetrating deep into its critical systems. A series of explosions rippled across the Krithian ship's hull. Its lights flickered and died as its power grid collapsed. Krithian command ship neutralized, Lieutenant Patel reported, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Their remaining vessels are falling back, attempting to regroup. Helena allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before focusing on the next phase. Open a channel to the Krithian fleet. All frequencies maximum power. When the communications officer nodded, indicating the channel was open, Helena delivered a message that would echo across the galaxy. Krithian vessels, this is Brigadier General Helena Voss of the Earth Alliance. Your command ship is destroyed. Your battle network is compromised. Withdraw from Alliance space immediately or face the same fate. This is your only warning. For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, remarkably, the remaining Krithian vessels began to retreat, jumping to hyperspace, one by one, until the system was clear. They're gone, Lieutenant Kavinsky confirmed, after several minutes of scanning. No Krithian signatures detected within sensor range. A cheer erupted on the bridge, quickly silenced by Helena's raised hand. This was one battle, she reminded them. An important one, but just the beginning. The Krithians will return with a larger force better prepared for our tactics. Our job now is to ensure we're ready for them. She turned to Lieutenant Patel. Contact Alliance Command. Tell them we've had a successful engagement with the Krithian fleet, but expect a stronger response. Recommend immediate deployment of all available ships equipped with Decawave technology to the Alpha Centauri system. As the crew carried out her orders, Helena moved to the viewport, gazing at the swirling clouds of the gas giant below. For the first time in 200 years, the seemingly invincible Krithian Empire had been forced to retreat. It was a small victory in what would undoubtedly be a long war, but it was significant nonetheless. In the days that followed, the Alliance began extensive preparations for the coming conflict. The successful engagement in the Archon system had provided valuable data on Krithian tactics and the effectiveness of the Decawave technology. Production of additional Defender-class vessels was accelerated, and existing ships were retrofitted with scaled-down versions of the disruption array. Helena, now officially confirmed as a brigadier general, was given command of the rapidly forming 1st Defense Fleet. The Defender remained her flagship, but she now had 12 additional vessels under her authority, including the Valiant and Dauntless. Intelligence reports indicated a massive buildup of Krithian forces on the far side of Alliance space. Their main battle fleet, comprising over 50 capital ships and numerous support vessels, was preparing for what appeared to be a full-scale invasion. The projected target, Alpha Centauri, the Alliance's most populous colony system after Earth itself. 2 weeks after the Archon engagement, Helena addressed the commanders of her fleet from the Defender's bridge. The Crithians will arrive at Alpha Centauri within days, she informed them. Their force outnumbers ours by more than 4 to 1. But numbers alone will not determine the outcome of this battle. She activated a holographic display, showing the Alpha Centauri system, highlighting key defensive positions and potential engagement zones. We've learned from Archon that the Crithians rely heavily on centralized command and rigid formations. Their tactics are effective, but predictable. Our advantage lies in flexibility initiative and the Decawave technology. The display shifted to show the planned deployment of Alliance forces throughout the system. We will not engage their main fleet directly. Instead, we'll employ a strategy of distributed defense. Small mobile task forces will target individual Crithian units, disrupting their formation and forcing them to divide their attention. Captain Silas Reed, now commanding a squadron of 3 ships including the Valiant, raised a concern. General, if we disperse our forces, we risk being overwhelmed one group at a time. Helena nodded. A valid concern, Captain. That's why our operations will be coordinated through the Defender's enhanced communication array. Unlike the Crithians, our command structure allows for both centralized strategy and individual initiative. Each task force commander will have the authority to adapt to changing circumstances without waiting for orders. She continued outlining the phases of the defensive operation and contingency plans for various scenarios. The Alliance would utilize the natural features of the Alpha Centauri system, its dense asteroid belts, radiation zones, and gravitational anomalies, to negate the Crithians' numerical advantage. One final point, Helena concluded. The Crithians have conquered 60 star systems without a single defeat until Archon. They believe themselves invincible, their victory inevitable. That belief is their greatest weakness. When they encounter determined resistance that disrupts their carefully planned operations, they struggle to adapt. She looked at each commander in turn, meeting their eyes with unwavering confidence. We are fighting for our homes, our families, our very existence as a free people. That gives us a strength the Crithians cannot comprehend. Remember that in the days ahead. As the commanders returned to their ships, Lieutenant Raj Patel approached Helena with a data pad. Final intelligence update, General. The Crithian fleet is being led by Grand Admiral Thrin Crith himself. Helena raised an eyebrow. The name was significant, not just a military title, but part of the imperial lineage. The Emperor's cousin, she noted. They're taking this seriously. Raj nodded. There's more. Intercepted communications suggest they consider the Defender a priority target. They seem to believe destroying it will break Alliance morale. Then, we'll use that to our advantage, Helena decided. Have the engineering team enhance the Defender's identification signals. I want every Crithian sensor operator to know exactly where we are, when we want them to. The day of reckoning arrived with little fanfare. A routine sensor sweep detected the Crithian fleet emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Alpha Centauri system. 53 capital ships, including the massive dreadnought, identified as Grand Admiral Thrin's flagship, accompanied by over 100 support vessels. All ships battle stations, Helena ordered calmly. Execute Phase 1 of Operation Guardian. Throughout the system, Alliance vessels moved into their assigned positions. Civilian evacuation procedures, which had been underway for days, accelerated as the last transports prepared to depart for the safety of the inner colonies. The Crithian fleet advanced methodically, their formation a testament to centuries of martial discipline. Scan probes were launched ahead of the main force, searching for Alliance defenses. They're being cautious, observed Lieutenant Kavinsky. Much more thorough than at Archon. They've learned, Helena acknowledged. Lieutenant Patel's status of all task forces. All in position, General. Task Force Bravo reports their disruption array is experiencing minor fluctuations, but should be operational within parameters. Helena studied the tactical display, watching as the Crithian fleet separated into 3 distinct groups. One moved toward the populated inner planets, while the others established a perimeter to prevent Alliance reinforcements from arriving. They're dividing their forces, she noted. Exactly as we hoped. Communications signal all task forces. Commence Operation Guardian Phase 2. Throughout the system, Alliance ships emerged from hiding. Task Force Alpha, led by the Defender, appeared near the Krithian Center Group. Task Forces Bravo and Charlie revealed themselves to the Krithian forces, approaching the Inner Planets and the Blockade Group respectively. All disruption arrays activate, Helena commanded. Target their command and control systems. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the Krithian fleet, ships began to drift out of formation as conflicting sensor data and false commands flooded their battle network. Some vessels fired at phantom targets, while others executed defensive maneuvers against non-existent threats. Disruption effective, Lieutenant Patel confirmed, estimating 65 seconds before they adapt. All task forces execute attack patterns, Helena ordered. Focus on their command vessels. The Alliance ships surged forward, targeting the larger Krithian vessels that appeared to be coordinating each group. Precision strikes disabled propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and communication equipment. Within minutes, the carefully orchestrated Krithian advance had devolved into chaos. Without central coordination, individual ship commanders attempted to respond to the Alliance attacks, independently, often interfering with each other in the process. But the advantage was temporary. As predicted, the Krithian systems began to adapt to the disruption effect. Disruption effectiveness dropping, Lieutenant Patel reported. They're implementing countermeasures. Helena had anticipated this. All task forces execute withdrawal to secondary positions. Prepare for counterattack. The Alliance ships disengaged, retreating to predetermined defensive positions throughout the system. The Defender and its escorts withdrew to a dense asteroid field, using the massive rocks as cover. The Krithian response was swift and furious. Their fleet reorganized, abandoning the previous three-group structure in favor of a more concentrated formation. They began a systematic search pattern, determined to locate and eliminate the elusive Alliance vessels. They're adapting their tactics, Helena noted, with grudging respect. Focusing on finding us rather than proceeding with their original invasion plan. For hours, the Alliance forces employed hit-and-run tactics against the Krithian fleet. Each engagement followed a similar pattern: activate the disruption arrays, strike quickly at vulnerable targets, then withdraw before the Krithians could bring their superior numbers to bear. The strategy was effective, but not without cost. 2 Alliance vessels were lost when their disruption arrays malfunctioned, leaving them vulnerable to Krithian counterattacks. Several others sustained significant damage and were forced to withdraw from the battle. As the engagement entered its 10th hour, Helena received a concerning report from Task Force Bravo. General, the Krithian flagship has broken from the main fleet, Captain Reed informed her. It's heading directly for New Terra with a significant escort. Their weapons are charged and locked on the capital city. New Terra, the most populous settlement in the Alpha Centauri system, was home to over 5 million colonists. Despite ongoing evacuation efforts, millions remained on the surface. They're changing tactics, Helena realized, threatening civilians to draw us into a direct confrontation. It was a calculated move, one that placed her in a difficult position. Continuing the current strategy might eventually wear down the Krithian forces, but not before they could inflict devastating casualties on New Terra. Lieutenant Patel's status of the disruption array. Fully recalibrated, General. We've incorporated the latest Krithian countermeasures into our algorithms. Effectiveness should be improved, but duration will likely be reduced to approximately 50 seconds. Helena made her decision. Signal all available ships. We're intercepting the Krithian flagship before it reaches New Terra. Task Forces Alpha and Charlie will converge on coordinates Sierra Tango 4. The Defender led the assault, emerging from behind one of Alpha Centauri's outer planets, on an intercept course with the Krithian flagship. 11 Alliance vessels, all that could be gathered on short notice, formed a wedge formation behind it. The Krithian response was immediate. The massive dreadnought, nearly 5 times the size of the Defender, turned to face the approaching threat, its escort vessels moving to protective positions. "They're taking the bait," Helena observed. "All ships prepare for Maneuver Omega. Disruption arrays target the flagship's command center specifically." As the fleets closed to engagement range, the Alliance ships activated their disruption arrays simultaneously. The combined effect was more powerful than any previous deployment, creating a cascading failure throughout the Krithian flagship systems. "Disruption successful," Lieutenant Patel reported. "Their weapons and shields are fluctuating, targeting systems offline." "All ships execute attack pattern," Helena ordered. "Concentrate fire on their main propulsion nodes." The Alliance vessels broke formation, each targeting specific points on the massive Krithian dreadnought. Energy beams and missile salvos struck the alien vessel from multiple vectors, overwhelming its defenses. On the Defender's bridge, Helena watched as damage reports from the Krithian flagship appeared on her tactical display. The disruption effect was holding longer than expected, keeping the alien vessel's systems in disarray. "Their escort vessels are moving to intercept," Lieutenant Kavinsky warned. 6 ships on attack vector. "Task forces. Charlie and Bravo engage the escorts," Helena commanded. "Defender will maintain focus on the flagship." The battle intensified as the Krithian escorts entered the fray. Several Alliance vessels took heavy damage as they fought to keep the escorts occupied, allowing the Defender to continue its assault on the flagship. "Disruption effect fading," Lieutenant Patel reported. "Their systems are stabilizing." Helena had expected this. "Navigation execute evasive pattern Delta. Keep us within weapons range but clear of their main batteries." The Defender wove through space with remarkable agility, avoiding the increasingly accurate fire from the Krithian flagship while maintaining its own attack. The rest of the Alliance fleet followed suit, creating a complex, unpredictable pattern that confused the Krithian targeting systems. Then, unexpectedly, the Krithian flagship's engines flared brilliantly before shutting down completely. Its lights dimmed as auxiliary power systems engaged. "Direct hit on their main reactor," Lieutenant Patel confirmed. "They're operating on emergency power." Helena saw her opportunity. "All ships concentrate fire on their command tower. Maximum weapons yield." The Alliance vessels converged, their combined firepower focused on a single point on the massive dreadnought. The Krithian ship's weakened shields collapsed under the assault, allowing the energy beams to penetrate deep into its structure. A series of explosions rippled across the flagship's command section. Secondary detonations followed as damaged power conduits overloaded throughout the vessel. "Their command systems are offline," Lieutenant Kavinsky reported. "Life support failing. They're abandoning ship." Helena watched as escape pods began launching from the crippled dreadnought. Among them would be Grand Admiral Thryn Krith, the Emperor's cousin and the most senior Krithian military leader ever defeated in battle. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies maximum power." When the communications officer nodded, Helena delivered her message. Not just to the remaining Krithian forces in the Alpha Centauri system, but to the Empire as a whole. "This is Brigadier General Helena Voss of the Earth Alliance. Your flagship is destroyed. Your admiral is in retreat. For 200 years you have conquered worlds without resistance. That ends today. The Alliance will not surrender, will not submit, will not be conquered. Every system you invade will cost you dearly. Every world you threaten will be defended. If you want peace, withdraw from Alliance space and respect our borders. If you want war, be prepared to fight for every planet, every moon, every asteroid. The choice is yours." Throughout the Alpha Centauri system, Krithian vessels began to withdraw. Without their flagship and Grand Admiral to coordinate their efforts, they reverted to contingency protocols, retreating to predetermined rally points beyond Alliance territory. The Battle of Alpha Centauri was over. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the Krithian Empire had been decisively defeated. In the days that followed, Alliance reinforcements arrived to secure the system. Damage assessment teams worked to repair the injured vessels, while medical ships tended to the wounded. The casualties had been significant, but far less than initially feared. 2 weeks after the battle, Helena stood on the observation deck of the orbital station above New Terra. The planet below showed no signs of the conflict that had nearly reached its surface. The city lights still shone, the evacuation ships had returned, and life continued much as it had before. Admiral Zhao joined her at the viewport, his expression thoughtful. "We've received intelligence from the border outposts," he informed her. "The Crithian fleet has withdrawn to their core systems. No Alliance world currently faces immediate threat." Helena nodded, though she knew this was only a temporary respite. "They'll return, better prepared with new tactics and countermeasures against our technology." "Undoubtedly," Admiral Zhao agreed. "But, thanks to you and your fleet, we'll be ready for them. The Defender-class production has been accelerated. 6 more will enter service within the month, with another dozen to follow by year's end." He handed her a datapad containing new orders. "The Council has approved the formation of the Advanced Defense Command. All Defender-class vessels and their support ships will operate under its authority. As its first fleet admiral, you'll have considerable latitude in preparing our defenses against the Crithian return." Helena accepted the pad, recognizing the responsibility it represented. The war was far from over, but the Alliance had gained something precious: time and hope. "There's something else you should see," Admiral Zhao added, activating a holographic display. It showed news broadcasts from throughout Alliance space, all focused on the Battle of Alpha Centauri and the role played by the Defender and its crew. May 15, 3247, read one headline: "The Day Humanity Stood Against the Crithians." The date would be remembered, Helena realized. Not as the end of a war, but as the moment when a seemingly invincible empire discovered it was not invincible after all. When a people facing overwhelming odds found the courage and ingenuity to fight back. As she prepared to return to the Defender and begin planning for the conflicts ahead, Helena thought about the message she had sent to the Crithians. It had not been mere bravado or propaganda. It was a fundamental truth about humanity that the Crithians would learn in the coming years. Some species might surrender when faced with superior force. Others might negotiate or flee. Humans, however, had a history of standing their ground, of finding ways to resist, even when victory seemed impossible. It was not a guarantee of ultimate success, but it ensured that any attempt to conquer them would come at a terrible cost. The Crithians had conquered 60 star systems with ease. The 61st would be different, very different indeed.